I see Member Foston it worked. Member on okay. Okay, Vice Chair Jones, I have it.
See Member Latour present.
Member on UK. Can you try to turn on your camera, please? All right, great. And all attorneys present for the applicants, can you please try to unmute and turn on your cameras? Attorney Webster, and Attorney Jenkins, and Attorney Luciani.
I am here.
Okay,
Getting
now it wasn't working before.
All right, great. Now, Attorney Webster, I do need your assistance. If you can please ask your professionals to try to turn on their cameras.
Okay. Let me see.
Bear with me. I know it's a different type of meeting today.
Yeah, that was a little crazy. I see my architect.
All right.
I see
I
see my engineer. Okay, I think I'm good.
All right, great. Allison, I see you. Wonderful. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Chairman?
Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Allison, are you ready?
Hold on 1 second. I just want to turn my volume up here because obviously I turned it way down. Let's see here.
Wait 1 second. Where is John? Mr. Cahalan?
Yes, I'm here. I'm still getting the
All right. And
video
Steve,
stop.
I'm
Mr.
here.
Martini?
Oh,
Okay. All right, perfect. All right,
I'm
Chairman.
good. I'm good to go whenever you guys are. Thank you.
Still don't see John.
His camera is just having an issue, but John, are you able to turn it on or?
No, I'm
Please
getting
turn
the
on.
same. Oh, here we go. Now it's asking me to start.
All right, great. And
Okay,
There we are. Hello.
okay, great, perfect.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
All right, Stephen. All right, great. Okay, perfect.
All right, so it looks like we're ready to call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the Orange Planning Board for today, January 22nd, 2025. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So if everyone could please stand for the pledge. Salute. We pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Madam Secretary, have we met the Sunshine Law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, in accordance with Chapter 231, Section 5 of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this remote public meeting of the Planning Board of the City of Orange Township was filed with the municipal clerk of the City of Orange Township, posted on the city's bulletin board designated for that purpose, and on all official city website, as well as mailed to the city official newspaper as provided by ordinance.
And are we going with the agenda as written, or are we doing attendance first?
No, we have to do the reorg first.
Okay, so with that, I will start with the reorganization of the board members and professionals, and I'm gonna turn it over to Vice Chair Jones.
Hello. Do we have any nominations for chairman of the planning board?
I'm gonna make a motion that we open nominations for.
We need a motion to open nominations for chairman of the planning board.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, are there any nominations for chairman? I nominate Chairman Holmes.
I second the nomination of Mr. Holmes. He's no longer chair right now. Mr. Holmes. I take advantage of calling you Mr. I second the motion for Mr. Holmes to be chair.
We close it.
Motion to close nominations.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You guys got to say that, Abby.
That's you, Vice Chair. All in favor?
Say all in favor.
Aye.
All right.
Okay.
Vice Chair, you have to say all in favor, please.
All in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Okay. Pass it on to Chairman, please.
Chairman Holmes, welcome back.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate your support. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to open nominations for Vice Chair. Is there a motion?
I make the
Need a
motion.
and a second.
We have a motion from Member Latour. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Foston. Are there any motions? No, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes? Nominations for Vice Chair is now open.
You have to nominate a Vice Chair.
I make the motion to nominate Madam Jones as vice chair.
We have a motion to nominate, we have a nomination for Antoinette Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second. Are there any other nominations? Motion to close nominations for Vice Chair.
Motion to close out nomination for vice chair.
I have a motion from Member Latour. Is there a second?
I second it.
I have a second from Member Foston. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of closing nominations for Vice Chairs, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes? Nominations for Vice Chair are closed, and congratulations, Vice Chair Jones. Welcome back. Next, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Alexandra Reyes as Planning Board Secretary. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Latour. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of,
No, vote. They need to vote.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. All in favor of
Okay, I'm sorry.
appointing Alexandra Reyes as Board Secretary, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes Alexandra Reyes as the Planning Board Secretary? Seeing none. Ms. Reyes, welcome back. Thank you for joining us.
I'll take the vote now. Member Foston,
Yes. Present.
no, this is, you're voting.
Ah, yes.
Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Mobley, is not present. Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Easton, not present. Mayor Warren, not present. Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes,
motion passes. Congratulations to me.
congratulations, Madam Secretary.
Congratulations.
With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve Joseph Wenzel, Friend and Wenzel as a board attorney.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam
Attorney
Secretary.
Hawkins is here on behalf of, Frenz and Wenzel. The firm of Frenz and Wenzel, I'm sorry.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion to approve. Is there from Vice Chair Jones? Is there a second?
Second,
We have a second from Member Latour. Are there any questions on the motion? Madam Secretary, are we doing a vote?
Yes, that needs to be a vote. Member
Okay.
Foston,
Can you say it again? Mr.
if we're
Windsor?
voting for the board attorney.
Mr. Windsor?
Yes, Mr. Hawkins is here on behalf of his firm. He's
Oh,
not
okay,
present
okay.
today.
I didn't understand. Yes.
Okay. Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Latour,
yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you. Next up, I'll take a motion to approve Gerard Hazel of Nishawayne Group as the board planner.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Madam
Mr.
Secretary.
Stephen Martini is here, from Nishawayne.
Just as a placeholder for, just so everybody understands. But thank you for coming, sir. We really appreciate having you here.
Thank you.
But the vote is for Gerard Hazel of Nishawayne Group. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Foston. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes.
motion passes. Congratulations.
Thank you, board.
Congratulations, Nishawayne Group. Good to have you here.
Thank you, and I'll
And-
relay the reappointment to Mr. Hazel.
And you can tell him that he owes no. Thank you. And next up, we have motion to approve John Lane from CP Engineers, Architecture and Environmental Services. Is there a motion?
Motion.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Second,
Second from Member Latour. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Latour,
yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes.
motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Lane. Hope you're as good as last month's engineer.
Thank you. Much appreciated, everyone.
Good to have you back. Thank you. So with moving the agenda, I'm looking to adopt the 2025 Planning Board meeting calendar. And that was on the Dropbox,
Yes,
in the Dropbox.
yes. Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Madam
This
Secretary,
includes the adoption of the 2025 Planning Board meeting, includes the additional meetings proposed for 2025 as well.
thank you.
Both were included in the Dropbox.
Yep. And so hopefully everyone had an opportunity to review the dates and check their calendars and make sure that we're all good. And Madam Secretary, thank you for the November change. So we're way away from Thanksgiving. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the 2025 calendar for the City of Orange Township Planning Board meeting dates.
I make the motion, Chair.
We have a motion from Member Latour. Is there a second?
I second it.
We have a second from Member Foston. Are there any questions on the motion? Madam Secretary, we doing a roll call or?
Attorney Hawkins, I'll go with you on that one, if we need the full votes or all in favor.
You should do each.
Okay, thank you. Member Foster,
Yes.
Member Anukin,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes.
motion passes.
We took care of attendance, is that correct?
We're official now.
We are official? Do you want to do official roll call attendance or removing the agenda?
Attorney Hawkins, is that necessary? Okay, thank you.
Right.
No longer.
Same people are still here.
I already voted.
All right, with that, is there any correspondence at this time, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Attorney Jenkins is here on behalf of the applicant. Attorney Jenkins, I'm sorry. There you go. There was a correspondence provided in the Dropbox for an adjournment for case number. I'm sorry, 1 second. Well, Attorney Jenkins, in the meantime, when I get the case number, can you please just briefly give your request for adjournment?
Sure. And again, good evening. Reggie Jenkins, Trank Isabel, Siddiqui, and Shadani on behalf of the applicant Vita. Congratulations on all the reappointments and reinstallations. I've said it before, this is one of my favorite boards to appear before, so I'm glad to see you all again. The adjournment request is really due to the intent to address some of the questions and concerns that were raised during the last hearing. There have been questions with regard to the setbacks, with regard to landscaping, as well as other sundries related to the project. We took those points to heart, and what we just need is some additional time to fully bake our response and provide the board with whatever revised plans that we're intending to do. So simply put, we're just looking for additional time to address the concerns that have been raised by the board.
And Attorney Jenkins, you requested for this application to be heard at the February 26th meeting?
Correct. Correct. And it's my understanding that if we're saying that on the record that, and if it's approved, that no further notice is required.
Attorney Hawkins, can you please confirm?
Yes, as long as just so we're clear, everybody that's here for can you just state what case number is this?
This would be case number 24-11, Vita Capital LLC, 538-544 Nassau Street.
Yeah, just so we're clear, there's not going to be a new notice. Sorry.
For preliminary and final major site plan approval.
So anybody here for that, there's not going to be a new notice. It's going to be heard on the February 26th meeting. And that information for Zoom will be posted online, right, Ms. Reyes?
That is correct. Mr. Chairman,
So we're
you would have to.
Okay.
vote on it? Or that's requested?
Can I? You would have to agree to the adjournment.
If board attorney, yes,
Yeah,
that's
we'll-
fine. So we will adjourn this until the February 26th meeting, and again, there will be no further notice. So if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak to this application, you must wait until February 26th, when the case will be heard again. The extension has been approved, and we will hear from them on the 26th of February.
Thank you all very much. Now I get to run to my son's hockey game.
Enjoy.
Have a good
Good
evening.
luck, have fun, be safe. Thank you. Next up, we have the adoption of October 23rd, 2024 meeting minutes.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, those minutes will be carried to the February 26th, 2025 meeting.
Does that include the November 14th and December 18th meeting
That
minutes?
is correct. Well, you only have listed on the agenda the adoption of November 14th.
I'm looking at it.
There was an update
I
on the
did, yeah,
Dropbox.
you're right. I'm looking at the update. Thank you.
Okay.
And
The
so next,
November 14th meeting minutes will also be carried to the February 26th, 2025 Planning Board meeting.
thank you. So next on the agenda is the extension request of approval for case number 22-15. That's 617 Scotland Urban Renewal LLC, 611-617 Scotland Road.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Webster is here on behalf of the applicant.
Good evening, Attorney Webster.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations on your continued leadership of this board. You do a great job. Ms.
Thank you,
Reyes,
sir.
Congratulations as well. Good evening, everyone.
Team effort we do here.
You guys are doing a great job, right?
Attorney Webster, you sound a little bit far, or is it just my? All right.
Is that
Yeah,
better?
it is a little hard to hear. It is a little hard to hear him. I
Much
agree.
better.
Thank you.
Turn up my volume if I can. Is that better?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elnardo Webster. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Connell Foley, located at 1085 Raymond Boulevard in Newark. We're here on behalf of the applicant, 617 Scotland Urban Renewal LLC, with a request for extension. As you may recall, 617 Scotland Road received its approval from this board for preliminary and final site plan and deviations for the construction of a 6-story multifamily building consisting of 78 residential units and 57 off-street parking spaces to be located at 611, 617 Scotland Road and 517, 519 Beach Street, designated as Block 6105, Lots 2, 3, 4, 5 on the official tax maps of the City of Orange Township. The approval was received on December 14th, 2022, and memorialized by a resolution dated January 25th, 2023. We're respectfully requesting an extension of that approval for a period of 1 year, expiring on January 25th, 2026. Since its receipt of the approval, the applicant has been working diligently. We've taken significant steps to construct the project. On November 21st, 2023, the City of Orange Township adopted a resolution number 457-2023, designating the applicant as redeveloper of the property and pursuant to the local redevelopment and housing law, entered into a redevelopment agreement in connection with the same. Furthermore, on November 21st, 2023, the City of Orange adopted Resolution 458-2023, approving and authorizing the execution of a community benefits agreement with the applicant in connection with the project. On December 19th, 2023, the City of Orange adopted Resolution number 75-203, authorizing a tax abatement for the property and entered into a financial agreement with the applicant. Lastly, on June 19th, 2024, the applicant received approval from the City of Orange Township Historic Preservation Commission for the construction of the project. We recently received that document memorialized. The applicant has diligently worked towards the receipt of all necessary government approvals and financing for the construction of the project pursuant to NJSA 4055D-52A. The planning board may grant 3 one-year extensions of the project. The applicant is respectfully requesting a 1-year extension of the project approval through January 25th, 2026. We hope that to bring this project, we hope to begin construction soon, but we're still working on our financing, and we're asking for an extension so that we don't have a problem.
So with that, I ask this, so we take a motion to approve the extension. Is there a motion to approve the extent?
Motion.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Member Foston. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary? For
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
yes.
motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, though, this case number 22-15 will be extended for another year to be revisited or completed by, no,
Hopefully, you'll see some
January 2025. No,
We'll make it perfect.
26, yeah, I'm sorry. All right. Thank you, Attorney Webster, for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the board's attention to this matter this evening.
Absolutely. So with that, we move the agenda to case number 24-12, and I'm going to spell it NKECHRIS LLC. 551 Lincoln Avenue, preliminary and final major site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, Attorney Webster is here on behalf of the applicant.
Good evening, Attorney Webster. Good to see you.
Good to be seen again. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, again, my name is Webster. I'm a partner at the law firm of Con Foley, located at 185 Raymond Boulevard, 19th floor in Newark, New Jersey. We represent the applicant Chris, the developer of the proposed project to be located at 551 Lincoln Avenue, which is designated as Block 5901, Lot 23 on the official tax map of the city of Orange. The property is located in R3, low-density, multifamily residential, where the proposed use is low-rise multifamily building is permitted. The applicant is the owner of the lot, which was previously improved with a 3-story detached dwelling, which was destroyed by fire. Incris LLC is proposing a new 3-story multifamily dwelling and a 2-story parking garage with both the basement and first floor, with a total of 27 parking spaces. Each level of parking will be independent of each other with separate ingress and egress. The residential building will consist of 17 units, including 7 one-bedroom units and 10 two-bedroom units. Amenities include fitness room and residential lounge. The proposed project meets all bulk standards in the R3 zone. However, the applicant is requesting 2 design waivers. In section 210-33.2B of the city code for parking stall area, we are proposing parking stalls that are 9 by 18, where 9 by 20 is required. This is a design waiver, as this board is aware, that it is routinely granted. Section 210-33A, section 4, each entrance and exit shall be at least 20 feet distant from adjacent property for parking areas required for new multifamily dwellings in a residential zone. We are proposing a driveway into the basement that is within the 20 feet from the southern side property line. This driveway on the southern side will be located in the exact same location as the driveway on the site of the previous development, as pointed out by your planner, and will be discussed further by our engineer. This is tantamount to an existing condition. I'm in receipt of a number of reports. I'm in receipt of a planning report dated January 10th, 2025, and an engineering report dated January 25th, 2025. Our professionals will stipulate during the application that we will work to satisfy and address all the conditions and revisions as noted in those 2 reports. In addition, we have reviewed the location of the southern driveway, and while we are requesting a design waiver for proposing it within the 20 feet of the adjacent property line, our engineer will present an exhibit this evening showing a decrease in the driveway width and a relocation off the adjacent property line so as to eliminate any potential encroachment onto the neighbor's property. Notice of this application has been provided more than 10 days prior to this hearing in the local newspaper of record, the Star Ledger, and we have provided certified receipt return requests to all property owners owning property within 200 feet in all directions from the outer boundaries of the subject property via certified mail. Return receipt requested. An affidavit of service has been filed with the board secretary, and as such, we believe jurisdiction properly lies with the board. If Ms. Reyes and Mr. Hawkins could confirm that they've received notice and that jurisdiction is appropriate, I will continue.
Notice have been received.
Thank you.
Jurisdiction is appropriate.
Thank you.
Attorney Webster, before you continue, what was the date of that the board engineer report you had?
I have a report dated January 25th, 2025. I hope I didn't say 2024. I'm still getting used to the 25s.
No.
Not the 25th yet, though.
Yep. 1 second.
It's the
Yeah,
10th.
no.
I have a
looking at it.
I'm sorry.
January
I
10th.
missed it. It's January 10th, 2025. I apologize.
Okay, all right, that clears everything up then.
All right.
Apologize. Thank you.
All right, I apologize. You can continue. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for clearing that up. Tonight, in support of this application, I have two professionals. The first is Sufi Al-Musi. He's my professional engineer, and he's with Inglace Architecture. My second witness this evening will be Erin Pumo, professional architect with Inglace Architecture. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would call my first witness, which is my engineer, Sufi Al-Musi.
All right, that is fine.
Mr. Musi, I see you're here.
Good evening, board members. Thank you for having me.
Good
Raise
evening,
your hand.
Attorney Hall.
Do you swear that or affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You've been sworn in.
Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Mr. El-Musi, I'd like to voir dire you so that we can get you qualified as an expert. Would you please provide the board the benefit of your education, background, licenses, where you presently are employed, whether you've appeared before this board or other boards, and also indicate whether your licenses are in good standing?
Will do. Good evening, everybody. My name is Sufyan Al-Musi. I am a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, and Texas. I have a bachelor's of science in civil engineering from Portland State University from Portland, Oregon. And I have been licensed since 2018, and my license is in good standing as of today. I have appeared in front of this board, and I'm very fortunate to appear here again today. So thank you.
Mr. Al-Musi, it's so good to see you again, and this board will accept you as an expert in engineering, and your testimony will be limited to that as an engineer.
Thank you.
I'll have to ask him offline about this Texas license. That's a new one. I have heard him say that before. I'll have to ask him what's
I was thinking the same thing, but
Mr. El-Musi, I'm going to ask you to share your screen and explain to the board the existing condition, and then we'll jump to the proposed condition.
Absolutely. So, Ms. Reyes, if I could get permission to share my screen.
Ms. Reyes has got us locked down tonight. We had a little bit of drama before.
No problem.
And while we're doing that, I'm just going to let the public know that there will be an opportunity at the end of the application for the public to speak. So I ask that you be patient, hear all the witnesses and the testimonies, and then there will be an opportunity for you to speak.
Try now, please, El-Musi.
I think that will do it. Thank you.
All right, great.
So again, good evening, everybody. My name is Sufyan Al-Musi. I'm a professional engineer representing the applicant for a proposed 17-unit low-rise multifamily building to be located on 551 Lincoln Avenue in Orange. The lot is lot 23 on block 5901. And I'm here to just give an overall picture of the engineering, but also the site itself. Before I dive into the building itself and what we're proposing, I just wanted to show the existing conditions and kind of highlight some of the things Attorney Webster alluded to earlier. So this is the existing property. It's a 3-story brick dwelling, and it has an existing driveway along the southern property line that runs along the property line and runs behind the structure. There's also two walkways, one that leads to the driveway, one that leads straight out to Lincoln Ave, and we are bordered by two adjoining properties, with each property being roughly 3.5 feet away from the property line and 5 feet on the northern end. So the proposed scope in terms of the demolition is going to be the removal of the existing structure, the removal of the existing driveway and walkways, and a full replacement of the existing concrete curbs, as well as the proposed building. This site is roughly 15,000 square feet. It has a 100-foot frontage on Lincoln Avenue. And the proposed application is going to be variance-free, as mentioned earlier. So we meet the density requirement per the ordinance, the building heights, the required setbacks, as well as the building and just overall impervious coverage. I'll go into more detail on the parking, but as for a 17-unit building, the parking ordinance requires 23 parking stalls, and we're proposing 27. And to piggyback on what Attorney Webster mentioned earlier, we do have the original dimensional site plan, but we've also prepared an alternate layout that shows that is exactly the same, the exact same dimensional site plan, with the only difference being that we reduced the driveway from 23 feet to 21.6 to allow us a 2'6" buffer between the adjacent property and our driveway. That'll also help us with the building of a very low landscape retaining wall that's going to deal with the grading difference that I'll highlight in the next plan. So, Attorney Hawkins, what should I name this exhibit?
We could just mark it as exhibit A1 for applicant's first.
Absolutely.
Can I please have the date on that?
It is going to be, well, it's technically just a rework. I should have added a revision date. So I am going to add it right now with today's date. Oop, it's a bit there.
We will provide this to the secretary tomorrow.
Absolutely. And so so I'll take a step back, and essentially, as I mentioned, the only difference between what was submitted and what's being proposed is this 2'6" setback and the reduction of the basement driveway from 23 feet to 21'6". But if we're going to take a quick step back here, I'll start with the ground floor. This is the ground floor dimensional site plan. What we're proposing are, off of Lincoln Ave, 2 driveways, one to allow for parking straight into the ground floor parking area. That's going to be elevated over the other driveway on the left side, or on the southern side of this property. That takes you down to the basement level, into the basement parking area. On this level, we have a 20-foot drive aisle with no features beyond just a drive aisle itself. That takes you to the rear of the parking area, which consists of 12 parking spots, including 2 ADA parking spots, and then 3 regular parking spots with EV charger, and 1 ADA parking with a single EV charger. The main building entry is right down the middle of the building. That leads you into the lobby, and that lobby leads you to 2 amenities. We have a gym, as well as an amenity space here for the building residents, as well as both packaging and mail rooms, as well as a decent sized trash compactor room that's on the ground floor. And I'll discuss trash and recycling within a second. This lobby also includes the elevator that will feed the units, as well as the main stairs in this building. There is a second means of egress, which is on the rear of the building. That one can be exited. You can exit out of the basement level, and allows you to walk around the basement and up to grade and back out onto Lincoln Ave. I'll take an opportunity now to talk about a little bit about the trash compactor room, and then the trash in itself. The intent here is to have the compactor really reduce the amount of trash and recycling coming out of this building, and will also allow the super to roll the trash bin out from the ground floor and out to the curb to coincide with the scheduled pickup. Other than that, I'll discuss a little bit more the grading and the basement level, but from a ground floor perspective, those are the features of the ground floor. This is the same Exhibit A, just page 2. This is, again, similarly, this is the dimensional basement site plan. The only difference between what was submitted and what's proposed is this 2'6" buffer and the 21'6" drive out. So in order to
Mark that A2. Let's put that A2 since it's a change.
Sure.
And with the date amended for today.
Absolutely. So over here we have essentially a replica of the existing driveway. The only difference is obviously it's wider for two-way traffic, as well as we made it 21'6" to provide a 1'6" buffer area to allow us to put columns and structure to support the overhang of the ground floor. There's a 10-foot setback on the ground floor of the main structure, but here we are seeing it's closer to about 21'6" to the setback between the basement and the property line. There was a comment about the slope of this ramp, and when we get to resolution compliance, we will demonstrate this with an exhibit. But right now we have a transitioning slope that goes from 5%, 10%, 15%, 10%, and then 5 back to reach that basement level. This has been verified. We ensure that that essentially no low profile vehicles will bottom out due to these transitions, and we'll provide an exhibit to demonstrate it. When you make it down into the basement, you have the remaining stalls, so that's stalls 13 to 27, of which only one of them is compact, which is the one right here. Otherwise, all of them are, as Attorney Webster mentioned, 9 by 18, which we would be requesting a design waiver for. In this basement level, you have access to the main building, so that would be the elevator and the stairs on the ground floor. And these two rooms are just utility rooms, and this would be the laundry room in the basement as well. The additional features I'll talk about relate to the stormwater system, but other than that, as I mentioned earlier, this is your egress out of the basement and up this side ramp to take you back to grade. One of the comments from the board engineer was asking us regarding the proposed utilities here, so that allowed me to transition back to the original submission and to sheet C-130. So now this is part of the package that you have received. We're proposing our utilities to come in from, I'll go to sheet 140 where 132 where it shows it. Our utilities are going to be coming in off of Lincoln Ave, and one of the questions was, how are these meters going to be serviced by utility providers? And we will request to make a modification to show these utilities connecting into the building here, and we'll be providing the meters outside on the front of the building, and we'll provide a landscape buffer so they're not visually seen by any of the residents or passersby, but will still be accessible to all the utility providers. From a grading perspective, and this kind of highlights some of the comments I mentioned earlier, we are essentially providing a low retaining wall / landscaping wall along the two sides of this property. One, to help deal with these new grades for this driveway. We anticipate up to 2.5 feet tall landscape retaining walls on the left side, and on the right side at its worst is about 3.5 feet. And that's really just to deal with the difference between our ramp slope and the existing grading. And this is not because of we're trying to create or force this basement. Just the natural topography of this building, where it starts at 241 at the street, 240 at the street level, and is closer to 230 along the back just inherently allows us to sink this building into and allow the parking to happen at the basement level. From a drainage perspective, like I mentioned, we're going to be proposing area drains along the front, trench drains along the front of the building. A couple comments from your board engineer was that he'd like to see a couple more trench drains at the entrances of the driveways or into the building. So we'll be including a trench drain over here, and then similarly, when I get to the basement plan, I'll illustrate that as well. But from a drainage perspective, the intent here is to capture most of the water at the ground floor level or at the roof of this building, and to convey it via drainage pipes into the front of the building, where we're proposing a 2,300 cubic feet vault under the ground floor. So this would not be visible from the street level because it'll be happening below the ground floor, but essentially we're utilizing this natural reclining grade of this property to allow us to store some of that water above grade and then naturally discharge it to meet the pre-existing conditions. So before I show you the basement level, I want to take an opportunity to just highlight what I mean by the natural grading and drainage of this property. So currently this is the original drainage pattern, and what's happening here is all of the runoff that's falling on this property essentially runs down the asphalt driveway or the landscaping and ends up into the property along the rear. And in order to mimic that condition while reducing our outflow from our property to meet the DEP regulations, what we're proposing is to, if I go back to this plant, is to capture all that stormwater, bring it back into our vaults, and then control it at a controlled discharge down the property into a stone bed. So this stone bed essentially runs from the edge of the property all the way to the back. And the intent here is, like I said, is to mimic the natural drainage flow of this property prior to this proposed development. Moving on. Q140 is just soil and sediment control plan. And C150 is our landscaping, our lighting plan. So the proposed lighting plan here is really going to be building mounted lights at relatively low elevations. We understand that we want to mimic the residential lighting here while providing a safe passage to all the residents. So that's why you will notice that all our proposed lighting is, with the tallest one being exterior lighting being about 8 feet, and then it varies between 6 to 7 feet along the side of the building, whether it's for vehicular passage, it's closer to 7 feet, and then 6 feet along the walkway passages. These are your typical residential wall sconces. These provide very low lighting. They're not into, that's why we have so many along the back. It's because their intent is really to provide localized lighting and not extend. Like, please don't imagine that we're proposing any large surface parking lights that have a giant array of lighting. Within the building, we are proposing your standard garage lighting, hanging fixtures. They look like these. They provide sufficient lighting to ensure that vehicles and people can walk safely within this parking structure. And then similarly on the lower floor, it's the same story here. Once you get below the overhang of the main building, we have 10-foot lighting throughout, and this is again same thing, provides safety and security for the proposed residents. And if I go back to the floor above, we have limited landscaping. We have a landscape buffer wrapping around the building. As I mentioned, we do need this stone bed to deal with the stormwater, as well as landscaping along the front of the building. One of the comments from your board engineer was to include some sort of green infrastructure as part of our drainage system, and we're more than happy to comply. We're going to look into providing a bioswale that's going to act both as a decorative landscaping element, but also a stormwater management solution. And then moving on to the traffic site plan, this is just an opportunity to demonstrate that all vehicles that are proposed to come into this building will be able to enter and exit their parking stalls. We demonstrate that using the worst case scenarios. But we also wanted to highlight that because of the building setback, which is about 20 feet, we are able to allow a vehicle to fully drive out of the garage prior to arriving to the concrete sidewalk along Lincoln Ave. So this allows a vehicle to completely exit the property without interrupting pedestrian traffic and have the ability to have a proper sight line to ensure that no vehicles are impacting its entry or exit. One of the comments from your board engineer was to make this a right turn only. We have no objection, so we'll make sure that to apply that as well. And similarly on the lower floor, the lower floor, this is just again demonstrating the ability for every vehicle to drive out of their parking stall and back out. Like I mentioned, this is a 17 unit building with 27 parking stalls. All of these stalls will be assigned to tenants, as well as a couple left for visitors, for resident visitors. And I believe that is essentially my presentation. The rest of the sheets are just standard details and details applicable to this project. One more thing I wanted to mention that your board engineer did question, which we believe we responded to by reducing the drive aisle from 23 feet to 21.6 feet, was will we be able to build this landscape retaining wall along the driveway without impacting the neighbor? We believe that this sketch illustrates the ability to install it. The max difference in grading is about 2.3 feet, and we're about 2.6 feet away from the neighboring property. So we should be able to build this landscape retaining wall that does not necessarily require a footing to be installed. And I know I kind of flew through everything, but that was essentially my presentation. And if you have any questions, by all means.
Mr. Almusi, I have no further questions. I yield you to Mr. Holmes if the board has any questions.
With that, I'll open it to the board members. Are there any questions for Mr. Almusi? Seeing none?
Thank you
Mr.
so much for your
Almusi, thank
time.
Mr. Chairman, my next witness is our architect, Ms. Erin Pumo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
You raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board is the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you. Been sworn in.
Ms. Pumo, I need to voir dire you and get you qualified as an architect in New Jersey. Would you please provide the board with the benefit of your background, your training, your current place of employment, and indicate whether your license is in good standing, and also provide the board insight into your career if you've appeared at this board and other boards, and your capacity as a licensed architect in New Jersey.
No problem. Okay, I have a bachelor's of architecture from New Jersey Institute of Technology. I'm an associate at Ingles Architecture and Engineering, and I've been working there for over 12 years now. I'm licensed in the state of New Jersey as an architect, and my license is current and in good standing. I don't believe I've appeared before this board, but I have appeared before other boards in New Jersey, including Newark, Jersey City, Burnsville, Rockaway, Rutherford, Point Pleasant. Thank you for having me tonight. If this is my first time appearing before you, and let me know if you have any other questions.
Is your license in good standing?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions for this witness on the voir dire.
Thank you. I appreciate that because you asked the question that I was going to ask. So thank you. Ms. Pumo, we welcome you to the City of Orange Township Planning Board, and we will receive you as an expert in architect. And please remember that your testimony will be limited to that as an architect.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Ms. Pumo, I'd like for you to share your screen, and let's walk the board through the beautiful building that you've designed.
Okay. All right. I will keep this somewhat brief because Suf did a great job at explaining a lot of the building amenities, but I'll just give you a quick overview. This is a 17-unit, 3-story multifamily building with 2 levels of parking. Suf went over that very nicely. I'm just going to zoom in here to the main lobby area. There's a single entrance into the lobby with a mail area, a separate package room, a resident lounge with a pantry and its own individual bathroom and a fitness studio in the back here. Elevator, stair, and then there's a stair in the rear as a second means of egress. As you go up to the second floor, the second and third floor are mostly comprised of residential units. The second floor has a mix of 2s and 1-bedroom units. And then on the third floor, same thing. There's a mixture of 2s and 1-bedroom units, with the exception of one co-working space on the third floor as a resident amenity. The breakdown of units is there's 7 1-bedroom units that range from 600 square feet to 760 square feet, and 10 2-bedroom units that range from 800 square feet to 950 square feet. Each unit has open living, dining, kitchen area. I'm going to zoom into one of the units here. Zoom in here. This is a 2-bedroom unit. Open kitchen, dining, and living room area. Each unit has its own high efficiency heating and cooling split air system. And then each unit will also have a stackable washer and dryer within the unit itself for both the 1-bedrooms and the 2-bedroom units. I'm going to go ahead and bring up a colored elevation, which should be marked as an exhibit.
We'll make this applicant's A3.
And the date on this is, let me zoom in. Today's date, 1/22/2025. Titled Color Elevation. Okay, so what you see before you is the Lincoln Avenue front elevation of the building. It was designed to fit within the context of the neighborhood. Designed as 3 stories to also closely match the massing of the adjacent residential homes along Lincoln Avenue. And the overall aesthetic of this multifamily building is meant to resemble the Tudor style of the home that was previously on the lot. But we're giving it a little modern flair to jazz it up a bit. The materials that comprise the elevation are a combination of brick veneer in a red tone, fiber cement siding that's both lap siding and solid panels. This off-white color is fiber cement panels with decorative trim. And then the mansard roof is asphalt shingle in a gray tone. What you see here, there's 2 separate garage doors that give you access to the first floor parking area. And this was designed this way so that it resembles garage doors that you would see in an attached garage, typically in a single family home. So we were pulling elements from the adjacent context there. The rest of the materials that wrap the elevation is mostly fiber cement siding with the decorative trim. And I can pull up the black and white elevations as well to just take you around the building. So this is one of the side elevation. It's showing the slope going down to the rear of the property. You can see some openings into the garage to allow some natural ventilation for the first floor garage. This is the left side of the building where that has the drive aisle going down. You can see the slope and then the entrance into the basement level parking. And then the rear of the building is showing openings into the garage on the first floor and basement level, and then the units above. And the mansard roof wraps all the way around from the front all the way around to the perimeter of the building. That's all I have for my testimony. If anybody has any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions or direct for this witness. I'm happy for the board to ask whatever questions they might have.
All right, I'll open up to the board. Are there any questions from any board member?
How's the if I may, Chair?
Member Latour?
Yeah, how's the cooling and heating of each unit handled? I don't know if anyone mentioned that.
Sure. So let me go to the floor plan. Oops. So each unit gets I'm going to zoom in here. This is a furnace and it's a split air system. So it's forced hot air. So there's a unit inside a closet that provides the hot air. And then there's a rooftop condenser, which I actually didn't call out on my testimony, but they're located here. These are rooftop condensers, so all of them will be located on the roof.
Okay.
They won't be on the ground.
Ms. Pumo, those rooftop condensers won't be visible because the mansard roof will obscure their view. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Oh, there was also a question on one of the review letters asking who has access to the roof. The only person or people that have access to the roof are authorized personnel. Residents are not going to be allowed up there.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
You'll get your turn, Mr.
Oh, I'm
Martinez.
sorry. I apologize.
No problem. Any other questions from any board members? Seeing none? Thank you, Ms. Pumo.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further witnesses for my case in chief this evening. I yield and look forward to questions from your professionals and the public.
All right, this time then we will hear from our board planner,
Sure.
Mr. Martini.
Martini, do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board tonight's the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. He's been sworn in.
Thank you. Good evening, board. I will try to be very brief. As you see this application before you, and as noted in our review memo dated January 10th of this year, there is two items for relief that the applicant is seeking. One is for the proposed driveway entrance, as 20 feet is the minimum required distance from an adjacent property, and whereas 0 feet is proposed, and this is essentially an existing condition. Also, there is a waiver requested for minimum parking stall dimensions, as 9 feet by 20 feet is the minimum required, and 9 feet by 18 feet is proposed. Besides those two minor reliefs being sought, the proposed development is compliant with the Vulcan area regulations of the low-rise apartment building type and the R3 district. There's no other variances being sought. A couple of things I'd like to point out. I appreciate the design of the dwelling and of the front facade that shows the elements of the neighborhood and of the former historic home on the property. I do have a question for the architect, just to confirm that there's a washer and dryer appliance in each individual unit, and if so, just to know on sheet A100, it does show there's basement units in the laundry units in the basement. I just want to see if those are going to continue to be proposed, if there will be a washer and dryer unit in every residential unit. And further, just one quick question for the engineer on sheet C1.50. There is an existing tree line that's on the front, along the front of the property. I just wanted to confirm to see if it's possible for any trees to be planted along the frontage of the property along Lincoln Avenue. Those are the only questions I have at this time. Thank you.
Aaron, why don't you address the architectural questions, and I'm just conferring with the owner with respect to the washing machine and dryer question.
Okay. Sorry, I was looking at the plans before to check the washer dryer. What was the second question? Can you repeat that?
I wasn't sure if it is more appropriate for the engineer or for you.
Okay.
There is an existing tree line along the frontage of the property, and it looks like it will be removed as part of developing the site. I just was looking to see if I know there is landscaping proposed in the front yard, but just wanted to see if there were any possibility of trees that could be planted along the front streetscape of Lincoln Avenue.
We should be able to add it. That shouldn't be an issue. That must have just been an oversight on our end.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Martini, we will still maintain 2 washing machine and at least 2 dryers in the basement. They'll be larger because the in-unit washing machines and dryers tend to be a little smaller. So we'll have 2 large capacity washer and dryers in the basement. They will still remain.
Okay, thank you for that confirmation.
So there will be in each unit washers and dryers as well as in the basement?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, what happened was during our TRC meeting, Mr. Hazel called out that issue, and we agreed to put a washing machine in each unit, a washing machine and dryer in each unit. Unfortunately, I guess that change wasn't reflected in these plans, but we did agree to do that. So each unit, both 1 and 2 bedrooms, will have a washing machine and dryer in each unit.
Attorney Webster, so it is on the architectural plans within the units. It's just that we have additional washers and dryers in the basements, and I think to your point, we're just proposing them as large size washers and dryers for comforters and other large items.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that's clear for the record. We know in Orange that you're not allowed to build, or this board won't approve a unit without a washing machine and dryer in it. We've had that. Councilwoman Easton isn't on, but I know Chairman Holmes will carry that message.
She's here in spirit, absolutely. All right, with that, are any questions from any board members for Mr. Martini? All right, Mr. Martini, thank you for representing.
Thank you.
Mr. Cahill.
You swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board tonight's the truth?
I do.
Thank you. He's been sworn in.
Thank you. Excuse me. Good evening, everyone. You know, I was talking just fine before, and apparently we still got to start it up again. Got a little cold outside, won't quite turn over. Excuse me. So I'll try to keep it brief as well. I appreciate the attention to detail from the applicant and their professionals on the various comments on my report. The only item I really have, I'm in agreement with Mr. Omusi with regards to the landscaping wall, that being a positive change. I would also, in the same look, take a double check at your coverage calculations, because that may also address some of the other stormwater comments deeper in my report. Although I will not object to the inclusion of a bioswale in either consideration. And I'm sorry, I did have one question. Not sure if it's more architecture or engineering, and forgive me, we may have discussed this at the TRC, but for the basement garage access, is that a gate system internal under the overhang, or is that a garage door style?
It'll be a roll-up gate.
Okay.
Thank you for, I did want to mention that.
And so with that, that's all I have direct, unless there's any questions from any of the board members.
Mr. Chairman, you're muted.
That's why I need you, Madam Secretary. Thank you so very much. So glad you came back. Are there any other questions for Mr. Cahill from any board member? And Mr. Cahill, you could probably answer this question, and I probably should have asked the engineer earlier. Is there any structure that's prohibiting a direct right-hand turn into the driveway, other than that? Well, into the driveway. That's what I'm concerned with. Because as you know, Lincoln Avenue, it could be a very heavily traveled street. So is there anything, a barrier gate of any sort that's coming, like right in the front of the property?
That would obstruct a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn?
Well, traveling south on Lincoln Avenue, make the right-hand turn.
So the only thing that was on, let's call it within the right of way in front of our property was an existing tree, and I think your board planner did highlight that one, that he will not. We do call for its removal, and so we're going to propose a new tree in there. But other than that, I'm looking at refreshing my mind using Google Maps, there's no other there's no hydrants, no light poles or anything else that would obstruct coming into the property. And I believe just from other board experience, if your concern is crossing the double yellow line, unfortunately, our application is very much limited to within our property. So restricting coming out of our property, taking a right turn, we can absolutely do. But in terms of anybody coming from the north southbound, there's really nothing that stops them from coming into the building.
So they can go directly into the driveway. They don't have to wait for a gate to open or anything like that.
Correct. So if I can,
Okay.
Yeah, there's a 20-foot buffer front setback. So essentially, that's more than a vehicle can fit within 18 feet. So you'll be able to be within our property boundaries, wait for that door to open, and then drive in.
That answers the question. My question. Thank you.
Perfect.
Any other questions from any board members? All right. Thank you, Mr. Cahalan.
Thank you.
Motion to open public portion.
We have a motion to open public portion. Is there a second? Is there a second to open the public portion of this application?
I second it, Chair.
We have a second from Member Latour. Are there any questions on the motion? All in favor say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes opening the public portion of this application? Seeing none, if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak to this application, I'll ask that you turn on your camera, state your name and your address and any concern that you may have. Madam
Chairman.
Secretary, I think Denise Williams was first.
Yes, she is first.
Hi.
Good evening, Ms. Williams.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. I am a homeowner, 30-year homeowner this year, directly across the street from the proposed.
I'm sorry, Ms. Williams. Can you please state your name and your address for the record?
Denise Williams, 546 Lincoln Avenue. I'm a homeowner, 30-year homeowner, directly across the street from the proposed 3-story multifamily dwelling at 551 Lincoln Avenue. And I've joined this call this evening with opposition and concern of a multifamily of the amount of 17 units in that location. Some of my concerns are follows. For one thing, I've listened to the specs of the driveway, and how traffic will come in and out of that unit. I'm directly across the street, okay? So I'm already anticipating tentatively that with a unit of 17, possibly tenants with more than one vehicle, tenants with visitors, and you have 27 spaces there. So vehicles coming in and out at night, lights directly facing my window. I'm going to hear traffic, and this is a residential, very quiet area. Okay, predominantly one family dwellings. I think there is only one, and one of my neighbors is on tonight that has a legal 3-family dwelling. And she's been here probably about 50 plus years. It's a concern when you're talking about a 17-unit dwelling and garbage. We have garbage twice a week, and with one of those, there's a bulk night. With garbage being placed on the street for 17 units, I can only imagine rodents and things of that nature at some point existing, with that amount of garbage. One of the other things is you have 2-bedroom units, you have someone, again, as I stated earlier, you may have some tenants with more than one vehicle. Congestion, the parking. It's already hard to park in this area as it is because we don't have driveways. on Lincoln Avenue, okay, on this block. And so it's hard. It's alternate street parking. You know, it's hard to get a parking spot as it is. There's a lot of elderly people. You know, I've been here 30 years. You know, there's a lot of elderly people on this block who can't, you know, park 2 blocks away or, you know, around the corner and walk up the hill because now you have 17 units here, you know, with company visitors, you know, extra car. You only have the space. You're allotted a space for 1 apartment, but you have 2 vehicles, so you're taking up all our parking spaces.
Ms. Williams, you have 15 seconds.
You know, there's the lighting, you know, in my window at night. I know that it was stated that there's low lighting, but it's a concern. You know, these are things that it's going to take place with this property, with the proposal that has been presented tonight. And these are concerns. These are, you know, I know as developers, it's about money, but as a homeowner, it's about quality of life.
Ms. Williams, we thank you for your time.
Can you hear me? I can't seem to raise my hand.
We hear you, but you have to wait until your name is called, Ms. Ward.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, I see Jeanette Galante. No, I'm sorry. Rachel Tennant.
Yes.
Rachel Tennant. I apologize. Ms.
Hello.
Tennant, I ask that you, there you go.
Rachel Tennant, 461 Waverly Place. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Okay, I just wanted to see, how will you get from the parking to the main level of the building? Is there an elevator from the parking in the basement? Let me see.
Yes, there is.
And Ms. Tennant, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and state all your questions so you can have your full time, and then the attorney can address them if you like.
Okay. How wide are the doorways in the units? Can it accommodate a manual wheelchair or an electric wheelchair? Do any of the units have a walk-in shower instead of a tub? That might be more practical for someone that might be in a wheelchair. Someone, you know, that needs something more ADA compliant. I'm not saying all the units, but maybe some of the units. What was the other thing? And that's it.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Attorney Webster, if it's okay with you, we'll hear all from the public, and then you can address the issues as you seem necessary afterwards. Is that okay with you?
That's fine. That's fine, Mr. Chairman. I've taken notes.
Thank you. Next up, I see Jeanette Galante.
Go ahead, state your name.
My name is Jeanette Galante. I live and own the property at 543 Lincoln Avenue. I've been there for over 55 years, and I'm so concerned about the congestion of the populace that is going to be brought in from this building. As Denise Williams, my good neighbor and friend, stated so eloquently, this is a nice, quiet neighborhood, mostly residential homes. My home is a multiple, and I'm so concerned about the vehicle traffic. It's unbelievable. We have problems now with congestion, with vehicles. I mean, God bless you. I just can't fathom the influx of people. I can't really remember, but there's several units of 1 bedrooms and another several or dozen of 2 bedrooms. These are multiple people, families coming in. And in today's world, every adult that lives in in an apartment or a facility or a home has an automobile. I'm so fearful and nervous about this congestion of not only the vehicles, of the populace itself. So I'm not for this unit. Believe me. I've been in Orange. I'm 87 years old. I'm going to be 87 in a month or so. I've lived in Orange my entire life, and I loved it. The residency of multiples also, and also the residential area. A few blocks down.
30 seconds, Ms. Galante.
Okay, a few blocks down on Highland Avenue, and that beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous one families were torn down, and multiple buildings have been there, and it's atrocious. And now we're getting another one on where I live on Lincoln Avenue there. Sir, this is going to be a congestion and unbelievable chaos with the automobiles and also the populace. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak to this application?
Didn't Ms. Ward?
Yeah. Yes. Carol Ward. Okay.
Ms. Ward?
Hi.
Ms. Ward, can you turn your camera on?
I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Go ahead, please. Just state your
Can you
name and
hear-
your address.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Your name and your address.
Okay, Carol Ward, 568 Lincoln Avenue. I got the letter. I wasn't able to get it back from the post office, but obviously I got all the info. First of all, why is it we're just hearing about this now? Okay, this structure is too big. We need a package room and a gym, and there's not enough parking. So let me ask a question. There's 2 floors of parking. Is one below ground and one on the first floor? Is it 3 floors in total, or is it 4?
Go ahead and ask all your questions, Ms. Ward, and then Attorney Webster will have his
Okay.
witnesses answer.
We also have a parking problem as it is. To bring in another 10 bedrooms or whatever it is for however many people, and everyone has a car. People from Tremont Avenue and all those buildings between Scotland and Lincoln, they don't have parking. They come up and park on our street. I have a fraternity next to me. We have about 8 or 10 boys in there from Seton Hall. The parking already is horrible. And all we do is bring in more and more and more. And this isn't Scotland Road. This isn't Nassau Street. Every house on this block is a single family residence. Who approves this? If we wanted to live in Queens, we'd go there. And you're just bringing in more and more. And then this is the first we hear about it. It's completely unacceptable.
All right, thank you, Ms. Oh,
What
go
more-
ahead.
The people who own this now, did they own it when it burnt down? And I would also like to state that they talk about like the flow for drainage and everything. I grew up in this house. Our garage used to be at this house. We used to rent it. Growing up, it always flooded. There was no great drainage then, and because the property slopes. So you're saying to keep the drainage the same, there wasn't good drainage. And I just don't know how this gets to this stage without anyone knowing about it.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. Ward. Next up, I see Nordia Gibbs.
Wait, you
Forgive.
didn't answer how many floors is it?
All right, Ms. Ward,
Yes.
Attorney Webster will answer all the questions that have been posed to this regarding this application. Just have to be patient. We want to make sure all the questions are asked, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Gibbs.
Hear me?
Barely.
Okay. I've been having some video with audio challenges with audio all night. Are you able to see my video?
No, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's happening. Can I still go?
Sure, if you would just please state your name and your address.
Okay, Nordia Gibbs, 434 Lincoln Avenue. So I used to pass this structure every day when I go for my walks with my dog. It was the most beautiful house on the block. Then it went up for sale, and then it caught fire, and it broke my heart. I've never seen something more beautiful. So I walk past these houses, and now that I hear an apartment building's coming, it's a little disheartening. It's a little disheartening, very much so. I believe Ms. Ward was asking about the size of the structure, and it may have been mentioned earlier in the meeting, but I think I missed it. Does anyone remember the size of the previous structure and the new building that's coming onto this property? Like, what's the difference in size? I know there's some kind of variance request for the size of the driveway to be like right next to the adjacent property. I definitely don't agree with that. If you're going to, one, put an apartment building in the middle of a residential area, at least make it uniform to the houses that are there. I do like the architecture, but if it's a size issue where you're asking now to, basically move from the 20 feet buffer right up onto the adjacent property, I don't think that's fair. People like Miss Carol Ward, that's been there for years, is already having an issue with an apartment building in the middle of the houses. I think it should be conformed to benefit the people that are still in the area in their homes. So that was my question. The size of the previous structure that was there before the fire and the new size of the building that's coming. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gibbs. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak to this application? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to close public portion.
Motion to close.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Seconded.
Second from Member Latour. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of closing the public portion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes closing the public portion of this application? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. Attorney Webster, would you like to address the concerns that came from the public?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to ask my architect, Ms. Pumo, to discuss some of the issues. Let's start with maybe showing your screen so we can again show the ingress, egress, and the elevator to show that it comes from the ground floor to the top floor. So we can show
Sure.
that.
Oh, I need permission to share my screen.
Sorry, Ms. Reyes, would you please provide Ms. Pumo with access to share her screen?
No.
Okay, now it'll work. Okay, I'm gonna go to the basement plan.
Go to the basement plan.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so here's the parking area. There's an entrance into a common corridor here. There's an elevator that takes you up from the basement to the first floor, and this stair also connects you from the basement to the first floor. So you see them here in the basement, and then to the right over here, this is the elevator, and this is the stair that connects you to the first floor.
So the elevator goes to both levels of parking.
Correct.
The next question we had was regarding the doors. Are the doors wide enough to accommodate a wheelchair?
The doors are wide enough. They're all 3 foot wide, which complies with the ADA code.
We also had questions about the ADA, whether the bathrooms are ADA compliant.
Yes. I'm gonna go to upper floor plan. All of the bathrooms, this dashed line, the dashed outlines that you see in the bathroom are all indicate the ADA clearances that are required for a bathroom to be ADA compliant. So every bathroom within the unit does comply with that. We do not have any walk-in showers. However, the tubs are designed to comply with the ADA code, which requires the tub controls to be off center so that somebody can reach them easily to control the shower.
Thank you.
And then I think there was a question on the height, or the number of stories that our building is. It's 3 stories with a basement. And the previous house that was on this property was also 3 stories as well.
I'm going to ask Mr. Almusi to discuss the parking and to discuss the drainage, just to address those 2 issues. How many parking spaces, Mr. Almusi, are required for this development?
So for this development, per the ordinance, 23 parking stalls are required. We're providing 27 for 17 units. So there's an excess from a 1-to-1 perspective. That's 10 additional parking stalls compared to the number of units. This would allow for some residents to have 2 vehicles at all times. It would also allow for, like we mentioned, we allowed for a couple stalls outside of the building within the basement level to allow for guest parking.
Thank you. Mr. Almusi, one of the other questions was with respect to drainage. I know that there was, I don't believe there's any existing stormwater management on the property. That wasn't a thing when this property was built. Could you explain how the regs work and why this plan will be better for stormwater management than the property is, just as it is?
Correct. So we do agree. Right now, essentially anything that rains within this property just sheet flows towards the rear of the property. So whether it's through the driveway or from the landscaping and kind of jumps into the asphalt driveway, we assume that the roof of this building is also just draining into the back of the back of this property, which probably explains the anecdotal comments regarding potential flooding over the years. The proposed developments obviously needs, because this is a major development, will require to comply with the NJDP regulations that require us to essentially reduce what exits this property, whether it's from the front, the rear, or the side. It essentially requires us to match the pre-existing conditions and to reduce them by 50% for 2-year storms, 25% for 10-year storms, and 20% for 100-year storms. So essentially what we're saying is the system that we're developing doesn't discharge less than the previous developments, but what it does is it captures a lot of that stormwater on the property and slowly releases it post a storm event. So it rains heavily for an hour, our storm vault fills up. Once all of that sheet flow kind of just flows out from all the other properties, our building slowly releases our stormwater that's been captured in that vault over a 24-hour period. DEP requires us to have emptied out the vault within 72 hours, but our system is designed to empty out roughly 24 hours post a storm event. So overall, this is a net reduction to not to the amount of drainage that exits this property, but to the speed at which it exits this property during a storm event. And that's really what stormwater management is about. It's about managing peak events as opposed to looking at it as more of X amount of volume of water came in, X amount of volume came out.
Mr. Chairman, we've already, at the beginning of the meeting, identified the notice was proper.
Attorney Webster, I'm sorry. Can you turn your computer up or something? Because I can hardly hear you, and I'm sure the court reporter is having concerns.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My speaker is just not great tonight. I don't know what's going on. Mr. Chairman, we also provided proper notice at the beginning of the meeting. We obviously have complied with the regulations with respect to notice and timing, and we do so all the time. So with respect to the timing of the notice, it was mentioned, I believe we've complied with the law and we are properly before this board. With respect to the number of units, this application does not require a use variance. This is the zoning that is permitted in the zone per the town, and I believe it's been the zoning there for a while. So again, we think that we're well within the statute and well within the ordinance. So I think those are the answers to the questions that have been presented. I don't know if there are any other questions, but I think those are the answers to the questions that have been presented.
Attorney Webster, there's two questions that I didn't hear answered, and pertaining to the light, whether when a vehicle is entering, parking, or exiting the property, the headlight shining into the resident's home across the street. And then there was also a question about congestion. So I don't know if you can address any of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I'm not sure how to address the headlight questions, to be quite honest. Other than the building is on a slope, I don't think the headlights shine directly in, but I haven't done a study to analyze that. The congestion is again, I guess, pursuant to the density, which is allowed under the ordinance. We're not asking for a density variance or a bulk variance in this project.
That's all the questions that I had down for many of the residents. So thank you. And you're welcome to close if you'd like.
Excuse me, this is Denise Williams. I just have
Ms. Williams, Ms. Williams, the public portion has been closed, so this is not a time for comments from the public portion.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if pets were allowed in that dwelling. If you can just answer that, please, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Public portion is now closed. Attorney Webster has an opportunity to close. If he wants to speak to that, that's entirely up to him. But as of now, the public portion of this application is closed.
I don't know the answer. I've actually never been asked that. I presume small. I'm just asking. Hold on one second. Let me ask the client. No pets will be allowed. Mr. Chairman, for the reasons we've presented, we believe this application is compliant. The one variance is an existing condition. The law allows us to build the unit that we've proposed. We believe that it will be a handsome addition to the city of Orange. It will provide much needed housing, which is a necessary element in northern New Jersey. Our client is a respected, well-known developer who owns projects in Orange and in adjacent townships. He is a very good developer. It's a family-owned development. It's not a large company. We believe that this is a great project, and we hope that the board is inclined to believe it and approve it. Thank you, and appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'll entertain a motion for this application.
Motion to approve preliminary and final major site plan for case number 24-12 NK Chris LLC, 551 Lincoln Avenue, with design waivers to allow for ingress and egress within 20 feet of the adjoining properties, and parking stall size of 9 feet by 18 feet, where 9 feet by 20 feet is required. As a condition of approval, applicant will comply with the recommendations of the board experts as detailed in the planner's report dated January 10th, 2025, and the engineer's report dated January 10th, 2025. The applicant has already agreed to restrict vehicles exiting either of the two driveways to a right turn only onto Lincoln Ave, and applicant will also provide trees along Lincoln Avenue.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second for this application?
Second.
We have a second from Member Foston.
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foster,
Yes.
Member Anuké,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Congratulations, motion passes.
Board
Congratulations.
Secretary- Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board Secretary, thank you. We will follow up tomorrow with the exhibits that we produced tonight. And if there's anything else technically that we need to provide to your office, please let us know. Thank you and have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you all. All right, so with that, I'm going to move the agenda. And is there any unfinished business? Any old business?
Actually, Mr. Chairman, I was asked to give a report for the status of the cases to the planning board. It is on your Dropbox of all the cases that we have approved. And there is also the summary of the 2024 cases that were approved.
And
If you have any questions on the ones that, on the status of the applications.
I didn't realize we did so many, so much work. So I appreciate the report. Does anyone have any questions regarding that report? That was, any board members?
And I will provide it to Council Vice President Eason, since she was not present at this meeting.
All right, thank you. Is there any other old business or unfinished business? Any new business?
None on my end.
Any new business going once, twice? All right, with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
I second it.
We have a second from Member Forson. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of adjourning? Say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
All right.
Is there anyone that opposes adjourning this meeting at 9:36 p.m.? Seeing none, meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for
Goodbye,
your
everyone.